In this video, we're going to show you all of the reasons you want to move to the resort mountain area of Durango, Colorado. So we're about 20 to 25 minutes north of downtown Durango, and I'm here at Haviland Lake, one of the most stunning lakes in this area in all of Southwest Colorado, in my personal opinion. This lake is really cool. We'll go into a little more detail on this lake later. And I also want to give you some context of what we're doing in this video. So like I mentioned, we're going to focus on all of the pros, all of the amazing reasons to live in this area. In the past, we have shot a video where it was all about the cons of living in this area. So we'll throw that up on the screen so you can look that up later. Let me first start by saying in future videos, in the next 4 to 5 videos, we're going to cover this area more. And we're going to show you several gated subdivisions. In future videos, we're also going to show you several other subdivisions that are very high-end subdivisions, some of the most expensive subdivisions in all of Durango, which happen to be in this area. So in this video, we're just going to kind of encompass the entire area, really tell you the pros of this area, and then give you a couple neighborhood tours and focus those neighborhood tours on neighborhoods that have ponds and lakes in them. So let's get to it. Give me a call, text, email, days, nights, weekends. Like I mentioned earlier, I'm a licensed realtor here in Durango, Southwest Colorado, Pagosa Springs, Cortez, Mancos, all of these areas right around Durango. I'd love to help you with all of your real estate needs. And I also want to mention, more than happy to get the drone in the air, give you a property tour or a neighborhood tour of any areas that you're looking at with the drone, as well as happy to walk through with my camera that I'm shooting this video on right now for you of any properties, shoot those over to you so you get a really good feel of any properties. Let's continue with the video. So let's first start by telling you a little bit more about Haviland Lake. So for context, we are about 10 minutes up from the Animas Valley, and we're still a little ways from the resort itself, from Purgatory Ski Resort that's up the road. So we're kind of in the middle of this mountain resort area, if you will. And so a little bit more about Haviland Lake. This is one of the lakes that you can drive up to, probably the biggest lake by far that you can drive up to in this area. And really, there's no other lakes other than Lake Nighthorse that's really within pretty close proximity to downtown Durango. You've got Lemon and Vistas, but those really don't offer the same amenities this one does, the same views and the same proximity to other amenities. Those are further away from town, further away from just anywhere to shop, anywhere to eat, things like that. Here, you're quite a bit closer to Purgatory, to a few different restaurants, things like that. And here, there's also camping right over my shoulder. There's some camping, there's RV camping, tent camping as well. There's some great trails that go around the lake as well. And what I personally love, as well as my wife, is going snowshoeing as well as skiing around the lake. I don't know if you can go quite all the way around. There's some private property, but on this side of me, there's some great, amazing cross-country skiing and snowshoeing trails that we love to go on. And then this lake is heavily stocked with rainbow trout in the summer. I see 5 or 6 people fishing right now. There's several people kayaking as well as paddleboarding right now. A couple dogs out there. And the views, as you can tell, are just stunning as well. So the views from this lake compared to many other lakes like Nighthorse, Lemon, even Vistas, I think this lake hands down is way, way better. So another reason why moving to this area has its perks is you've got access to this stunning, stunning lake. So even if you don't buy a home in a subdivision that has a lake, you've got access to this within a 5 to 10 minute drive of any home in this specific area. A few other things, you can swim in this lake. There's not really any big restrictions. I mean, there definitely are those out there, but you can swim, you can paddleboard, you can kayak. You can't have motorized boats. Your boat either has to have an electric motor or be hand powered. But other than that, I think this is just a really cool area. Views are amazing. You're a little bit higher elevation, but you can go for a trail run right here, jump in the lake, go for a swim, go for a bike ride right from here as well. Now, the number one item on the list is going to be the views. Now, I might have said that a lot in different videos and different neighborhoods definitely have some great views all throughout Durango. But I was talking to a client just the other day that came into town, called off of after watching the YouTube channel, and was asking me, where can I find the most stunning views, the most breathtaking views from properties? He didn't care about having like necessarily a lot of land. He just wanted breathtaking views right off the deck of the home. And really, this is the area that I was showing him. There's also some great homes, little caveat, if you will, honorable mention, there's some great homes with stunning views in the Animas Valley, which is the area just south of here as well. But back to this area, as you can see behind me, we've got Twilight Lake right behind me, and there's some views or some homes that have views of Twilight Lake right here. And where we just came from, Haviland, there's a few homes that have views of Haviland, but let's continue and talk about a home right here behind me that looks out at National Forest. And there's a lot of homes like this that either look out at Electra Lake, at National Forest just in general, or is up near Purgatory Ski Resort. There's also a lot of gated subdivisions in this area that have just stunning views. Again, it's kind of like this valley in a way where there's ridges on both sides, and off of the edges of those ridges, there are just absolutely breathtaking views. So that's what I want to kind of focus on, are the different types of views that you're getting in here. Now, if you go south, let's just kind of talk about the other areas of Durango and even just the entire county. As you go south of Durango, Colorado, it's called the Mesa. It's a lot flatter, more farmland type feel. A lot of clients that call me, I bring up that area and they say, no, we really want an area that feels like Colorado. And that area still has some nice views. You've got a nice view of the La Plata Mountains, but you don't have views like this where you're just tucked in the mountains there. So you've got the south area, then you've got in-town Durango. A lot of in-town Durango has some views because there's kind of mountains. You're kind of tucked in the mountains in town Durango, but you don't have these big expansive views that you'll see in this area where I'm at right now. And then you've got the west area and the east area. Both of those different in some ways, but in a lot of ways they're similar in that they're really forested. You've got a lot of forested properties in there, especially the areas like Edgemont. Going north of Edgemont, or east of Edgemont. Edgemont's about 15 minutes from downtown Durango. Going east of there, you've got areas that run right along the river, so really, really pretty areas. But was just showing a client a property that was right along the river, right in that 1.5, 1.8 million range, and they just didn't like that you're so tucked into the trees and you don't really have any views in there. So again, going back to those views, there are some views. There's a lot of neighborhoods that just have a couple homes that maybe come up in elevation and have that view, but there's not a lot of neighborhoods just in general that you can say this neighborhood, this area regarding east, west, or south really have stunning views. I will mention one. There's Durango Ridge Ranch, which is west of downtown Durango. So just want to give you a feel for those areas. Like I mentioned, the honorable mention of those areas is going to be the Animas Valley, which is north of downtown Durango, just south of where we're at here. So really this area is going to win. Again, just a lot of homes that are backing up to National Forest is going to really be why you're going to get a lot of those great views in here. With that, you're going to have a lot of homes. If you really want flat land, you're not going to see a whole lot of that out here. So let's say you want 5 to 10 acres of usable land, flat-ish land where you can maybe go for a run on your own property or just do fun yard games on the property, etc., things like that. You're not going to find much of that up here. So there's just a lot of, like you can see behind me, obviously that's Purgatory Ski Resort behind me. Down the road, you saw Haviland Lake where we're shooting first. You saw all those cliff sides behind me. Now that's just like here up as you continue going north of here. It's just like that. It just climbs in elevation. You've got a lot of national forest on both sides of you. And so you're really tucked in the forest. With that comes a lot, to kind of transition the conversation, comes a lot of cons in my opinion. So you're further away from downtown Durango. You're in that range of, let's call it 30 to 40 minutes from downtown Durango. You've got a couple places to eat here, but not a whole lot. You don't have like one really, really good restaurant in this area. You've got a great pizza place, schoolhouse, and then you've also got Backcountry Grill. You've got some other little restaurants here. You've got a couple at Purgatory Ski Resort. There's not a whole lot in this area. Couple other restaurants are in Glacier, which is as you're going back down towards Durango, towards the Animas Valley. They have some great restaurants as well. There's some great golfing there as well, fully private golf course there. All right, so let's just hit on a few of the cons. I'm actually gonna, again, throw up the thumbnail of the video where we talk all about the cons of this area, but let's just kind of give you the cliff notes, talk a little bit about the cons so you have an understanding of what that's like. So you're further away from downtown Durango up here. You're 30 to 40 minutes from all those restaurants, from the grocery stores, from the shopping. You're further away from those biking trails down there, those hiking trails, the Animas River Trail down there, just a lot of amenities down there. Then you don't quite, along with that, you also don't have very many restaurants up here. You do have a few really good ones. You've got Schoolhouse, a great pizza place. You've got the Nugget, great little bar slash restaurant there. They've got Backcountry Grill there that has some great food as well. Highly recommend them. Then you've got a few restaurants up at Purgatory Ski Resort, but as a whole, you don't have, much variety. You don't have a really big restaurant here. You do have a couple restaurants down at Glacier. Glacier is just down the road, about 10 to 15 minutes from Purgatory Ski Resort here, still in this mountain resort area, but you just don't have a lot of access to just amenities, restaurants, food. There's no grocery store up here. There's a little convenience store. They have kind of your essentials, and then you're a much higher elevation. So Purgatory Ski Resort just under 9,000 feet. In town Durango, 6,512. So you get quite a bit more snow up here because you are either at or near the ski resort's elevation. Now from here, it continues to go down in elevation. So if you're looking on a map, you continue to get less and less snow as you get closer to, let's just call it James Ranch, because that James Ranch area down to downtown Durango gets a similar amount of snow to in town because it's all within about 200 feet elevation of in town. So if you're looking on a map, you're looking at Purgatory, they're going to get about the most snow, and then as you come down towards downtown Durango, you're going to get less and less snow. Then the other con of this area is really just going to be the types of properties. So kind of like I just mentioned, you're not going to have a lot of properties with bigger land, and then with that are going to be the price of homes here. Price of homes here are quite a bit higher. It has changed since I last shot the video on the cons of this area. Prices have come down quite a bit. They are still by far the highest out of anywhere in this area because, as you can imagine, if you're coming from Texas, Arizona, Colorado, really anywhere else than another mountain town, this is what you think of when you think of Colorado. You think of this area behind me, the lakes, the mountains, the pine trees, the access to the trails, all these things that you really think of. You don't get that in like South Durango, for example. You do get that in East and West Durango, but it's just very different and it's not kind of exactly what you picture. So that's why the prices are so high. There are stunning, gorgeous homes up here, of course. And those are a few of the cons. Make sure to check out that video when you're done watching this one, or just give me a call, text, email, days, nights, weekends. Like I mentioned earlier, I'm a licensed realtor here in Durango, Southwest Colorado, Pagosa Springs, Cortez, Mancos, all of these areas right around Durango. I'd love to help you with all of your real estate needs. And I also want to mention, more than happy to get the drone in the air, give you a property tour or a neighborhood tour of any areas that you're looking at with the drone, as well as happy to walk through with my camera that I'm shooting this video on right now for you of any properties. Shoot those over to you so you get a really good feel of any properties. Let's continue with the video. So I was just showing some clients some homes down near the east area of Durango, and they actually have a property up here at Glacier, where I was just referencing earlier, just down the road from us here at Purgatory. And they were telling me that the temperatures, which I was aware of this before, but was asking them their specific thoughts on it. And the temperatures here in the summer are right around 8 degrees cooler than in town Durango, between 8 and 10 degrees cooler. So that is what's incredible about it. The other thing, just kind of going along with the weather, are the leaves changing colors in the summer, or in the fall rather, are absolutely gorgeous and breathtaking. There's some really great roads up here to drive to see all the aspen changing colors. But living up here just gives you that access to those aspens to just go for a bike ride and enjoy them anytime that you want. And the other thing with that is you don't get as many aspens growing in lower elevation. They grow much better up at this elevation. So if you have a yard, you want to plant some aspen trees, a lot easier to grow them at this elevation as well. Then let's talk about the winter a little bit. Most people move in here. I'm curious about yourself. Let me know in the comments if you're moving here for the winter or the summer. Please let me know in the comments. But a lot of people moving here really love skiing. And like I mentioned, Purgatory Ski Resort right here. One of the big advantages of Purgatory, quick caveat, is that you don't have the line. You're not driving for 2 hours stuck in traffic like you are in Denver or those areas around Denver here. And the other thing is you're just right out your back door, you've got skiing. We are actually right here on Twilight Lake, like I mentioned a minute ago. And this really has a nice cross-country skiing course around it. My dad absolutely loves it. I love it as well. You can see this trail going right here. And this is a great spot to ski. And then on the other side of the lake, there's some really nice trails as well. And it continues and climbs a little little bit. So there's a really nice flat area, then it climbs up the hill a little bit as well. Last winter, my wife and I actually came out here and did a twilight snowshoeing kind of guided tour. I should say there was a full moon and we were able to snowshoe for about an hour, hour and a half, and then they had a fire, they had hot chocolate, they had beer. Really cool event. And so there's so many cool things like that. They've got some great races out here. If I didn't mention earlier, I really love the outdoors. I love cross-country skiing, biking, and running. And we're actually training for 17-mile trail run up in Ouray right now, which is going to take place in September 7th. And so areas like this are really cool and really unique because you have a really nice place to run, and you don't really have a place like this in town Durango. So not to get too much off the subject of the weather, but just to say that this is also kind of a unique feature of Durango that you don't have, just as far as this nice flat dirt area to run on. And this goes all the way around this pond. So really, really cool area over here. All right, so the next item on the list is going to be the access to all the outdoor activities. Now, I know I've spoken about this quite a bit earlier in the video, so I'm not going to give too many specifics, but we will put some specifics up on the screen. So first, I'm going to throw up on the screen a map of all the different, or just show you the amount of trails that we have in this area. So there are some really long trails, some awesome hikes that peak, or that go up to the top of a peak. We've got Engineer Mountain just up the road from this area. You've got some really awesome like ATV type trails, type roads that go right along some amazing rivers. You've got the Hermosa Creek Trail that goes for 30 plus miles. And then you've got trails that can get you all the way into Telluride from this area. You've also got a trail that goes into what they call the Grand Slam, 4 different 14ers that you can do all from the base camp. It's a really well-known area. You've got Wyndham, you've got Sunlight, several other peaks there, and you're taking what's called the Animas River Trail. It's not the same river trail as the trail in town Durango, but it's about a 10-mile trail that gets you into that kind of base camp area, and then you have the option to do those 4 hikes and those 4 peaks. And that's just, I just want to touch on some of those. The other thing with specifically buying a home here is there's a lot of amazing subdivisions that back up to National Forest and have their own private trails, or just connect to National Forest where the public can't access those trails from anywhere else. So you really have that kind of secret access there as well. Then let's talk fishing. So there's several subdivisions like where we're at here, Lake Purgatory, that's got an amazing lake right here. There's another subdivision right on the other side of us that has their own pond as well. Then there's several others. Then there's also several that connect to streams or are really close to streams. Like I mentioned, Hermosa Creek is a really great creek to fish. I had a friend telling me he fished for like 4 hours, caught like 30 plus trout fly fishing in there. And that's only maybe a 5-10 minute drive from Purgatory, from the resort itself. And then what else? You've also got some really great mountain biking in this area. E-bikes is something I want to address. So e-bikes you can't use on most of the trails in town Durango, but in this Purgatory area, you can use them when you're on like National Forest trails. We'll throw up a link. There's a link where you can go to see the trails that you can't use them on. I just had a client come in town, said he bought an e-bike, excited to go out, and there's not a lot of trails he could use them on near his home where he bought in town Durango. So I want to hit on, biking, fishing, hiking, trail running is absolutely phenomenal here. I actually drive from my home in the Animas Valley up to this area to trail run because there's also just roads like this. Obviously, this is a private subdivision, but there's roads like this where they're just phenomenal roads to run on if you want to run quick, if you want to gain elevation. Then you've got places like Engineer Mountain. You've got areas closer to Silverton, just on the way from here to Silverton, that are phenomenal. You've got waterfalls along the highway there. You've got some really, really good camping that is also right along a river in this area as well. Now, the next thing we're going to talk about is really my favorite, this subdivision, and then we're going to talk about one other one. So we're in Lake Purgatory. Like I mentioned in the first part of the video, I'm going to give you a couple examples of some phenomenal subdivisions here, and then in future videos, we're going to end up talking about touring every single subdivision in this area. But in this video, it's kind of an overall encompassing, telling you all about this area, and then also showing you a couple subdivisions. So we're here in Lake Purgatory. We'll look down at my notes and tell you a little bit about this subdivision. First, I'm going to tell you, you'll see some signs here talking about how you really want to have 4x4, you want to have chains in the winter. You want to be very prepared for the winter. They get an absolute ton of snow here, and you want to be really careful. Also, it's not just a flat road like you see behind me here. There's a lot of homes that are up a steep driveway, and it's just really tough to access. Something I always recommend is if you're gonna live here in the winter, either have somebody plow it for you. If you're retired, if you're not worried about getting out at 8 a.m. or whatnot, have somebody either come and plow it for you, which there are tons of great services that can come do that for you. Happy to connect you to someone. Or have an ATV, put a plow on the end of it, and just be prepared to plow your driveway. Get out there and plow multiple times a day, so you're not having to plow a foot of snow once it accumulates. So it's really going to be the biggest warning for you for this entire area. I know I mentioned that earlier as well, just talking about the snow, but this subdivision in particular, you'll see multiple signs as you come in, really warning you about that snow and ice. Now, what's phenomenal is, as you can see right behind me, you've got this beautiful lake here. Now, they do allow canoeing, kayaking, paddleboarding, swimming, fishing. You do have to get permission, or I shouldn't say permission, but they do have certain rules here, so make sure you look at that. Then motorized boats are prohibited. All the roads are gravel and well maintained, as you can see behind me here. So just to hit on what they look like in the summer. Now, like I was talking about earlier, there's a lot of spruce trees, a lot of aspen trees in here. It is going to be well and sewer in this subdivision. And then you've got some really great views. So you got views of the Hermosa cliffs, of Spud Mountain. You've got views of Western Needles Mountain looking east, and then some of these homes actually have views of Electra Lake as well, which is breathtaking. Then let's tell you a little bit about the subdivision, about specifics. So the highest home sold in here was 3.5 million. Home sizes really range. So there's homes as small as 784 square feet, go up to 6,690 square feet. So there's mansions in here, and there's small little A-frame cabins as well. Lot sizes 0.5 acres to 20.22 acres. Again, well, septic and propane in here. And then elevation 8793. So we are pretty high. Again, for context, in town Durango is going to be 6512. Then the HOA dues are going to be $700 annually. Covers trash, snow removal, and road maintenance. They are going to be plowing these roads, and they do a really, really good job, I will say. You just, again, going back to those roads, you just want to be careful and cognizant of the driveway you have in here, as well as if you're looking at building, again, just what it would take to build that driveway in, because a lot of these lots are very steep and just tough to build on in general. Now, there really isn't much road noise. You can kind of hear the highway depending on where the home is situated, though. And then let's talk about distance to things. 32 minutes to City Market in town Durango, 34 minutes to Durango High School, 51 to the airport. Then you're 6 minutes from Purgatory Ski Resort, probably less to be honest, and 2 hours, 9 minutes to Wolf Creek. All right, now let's tell you about a few trails that are close by. You've got Elbert Creek, Dutch Creek, Animas River Trail, like I mentioned. That's not the same one that's in town Durango. And then fishing, you've got Columbine Lake, which is right here behind me. You've got Electra Lake and Haviland Lake, both 17 minutes away. I believe Haviland's a little bit closer than that, actually. Just looking down at my notes. Closest restaurant, there is a couple restaurants really just across the street at Purgatory Ski Resort, then a few just down the road. And then you've also got this lake. Just going back to this lake, something special that I just wanted to mention is there's barely any homes in Durango that are on water like these homes are here behind me. I'm not sure if you can see these homes behind me, but there's not very many homes just in general in Durango that are on a lake like this. And then there are a couple right here where you can really walk down and get access to the water from the homes. And so this is what really sets this neighborhood apart. There are a couple others, but this one is really unique in that there are homes right looking over the water. And what I love about this lake is this lake kind of winds up through this little valley here. It's really, really beautiful in that way as well. Now, by the way, guys, if you've been thinking about moving to Durango, Pagosa Springs, Mancos, Southwest Colorado, anywhere in this area, please reach out. Give me a call, text, or email. Love to help you with all of your real estate needs. I'm a licensed realtor here in Colorado as well as New Mexico. And again, would love to help you out. Happy to hop on a call, just discuss what you're looking for. Just got off the call with somebody that called after watching my YouTube channel. And I love having these calls, just discussing what you're looking for, discussing your criteria. And of course, as always, offer to put the drone in the air, give you a property tour or an area tour for you if I haven't shot that area already. And happy to hop on a Zoom call as well and kind of do a map tour with you so that it kind of dials in what you're looking for. I will look forward to talking to you soon. See you guys.